Welcome to the Senior Basketball Analyst. Today is an important day, and I think this is going to be a very underrated move uh, getting toward the end of the season. Mario Chalmers has been traded from the Miami Heat to the Memphis Grizzlies, and this is this is going to what's going to happen here is you're going to see the bench for the Memphis Grizzlies transform. Beno Udrih goes to the Heat. Now, what did he provide for the Memphis Grizzlies? Beno is famously an efficient player in the mid range. And I think one of the reasons that he shoots so well in the mid range, it can go off on these sprees where he hits three or four, 15 to 18 footers in a row, is that he makes very good decisions in screen roll situations. And I think that oftentimes one of the keys to shooting a high percentage is taking good shots. He makes good decisions on which shots to take and then when to pass or move the ball, either move the ball or drive to the basket and try to finish. So Beno does a very good job of that. And especially against backup units where usually he's coming off the bench for, the lion's share of his career. And he has zero playoff starts. So in situations where his team is good, he's not going to start at all. But in these situations where he's coming off the bench and backing up against other backups, he at times can shred defenses. Last year during the Memphis Grizzlies series against the Portland Trailblazers, he scored a bunch of points on Damian Lillard, who's not a very good defender. So so that's what Beno offered. Now the downside to Beno is he just really struggles to stay in front of his man, and especially against a quicker point guard, he has trouble even forcing guards into a certain direction and forcing them into help. He really struggles with that. He just doesn't move his feet very well. And he's certainly not going to create any turnovers. So he was a bad fit. And it really showed once Mike Conley got hurt. When Mike Conley had the broken face, and then he had some complications once he actually went into the hospital. He lost a lot of weight, got sick. So it prolonged his recovery, and that gave Beno even more minutes. And Nick Calathis was playing as well, and both of them struggled mightily on defense at the point of attack. And as we've often talked about in the West, the point guard, it's a murderer's row of point guards on your path to the finals. We know the MVP, Steph Curry, but Russell Westbrook, who's equally as dangerous. You have to go through it's really a litany of great point guards. Chris Paul. So you don't want to be in a situation where you struggle to defend at the point of attack, and especially on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies, if they're not playing great defense, everything collapses around them. And we've talked about this, but I talked about this in a recap of their blowout loss to the Golden State Warriors. This team loses its identity completely when it does not defend well. And right now, they can't defend. So they had to make a change. They can't defend. They're the second worst three-point shooting team in the league. Those two things do not mix. You were it. They actually could have lost all their games playing like this. So they feel like they need to make a change. They make a change. What does Mario Chalmers bring to the table? One, he brings a more reliable three-point shooter. Now, overall, throughout the course of their careers, there's not a whole lot of difference. But when you look at the playoff statistics, then it becomes a big difference. Beno Udrih is a very low percentage player in playoff games. Career, he's a 39% field goal shooter, 26% from the arc over the 26% from the arc in the playoffs. That's not getting it done. The Mario Chalmers on the flip side with you know, he's played 100 playoff games. So he's played twice as many, or 99 playoff games, twice as many as Beno. But in 99 playoff games, this is a guy that has started on championship teams and largely performed well. He's a 36% three-point shooter, 43% field goal shooter, 11 points a game. Not bad, especially when you're considering they're bringing him in to back up Mike Conley. So they're expecting to get a more reliable shooter. They're not expecting a decision maker on initiating the offense. That's not really what Mario Chalmers has done over the course of his career. The way that Beno may do it. The other thing, and I think this is even more important than trying to get a better shooter, the defense. Mario Chalmers, his calling card over the course of his career has been that he can pressure the ball. Now, at times there has, and this may be why the Miami Heat at times don't didn't like Chalmers. You know, I remember back when Carlos Arroyo was still with the team and Eric Spoelstra benched Mario Chalmers and then wasn't playing him at all. He was playing Eddie House in a backup role. So it was Eddie House and Carlos Arroyo, both of which are really not very good players, playing over Mario Chalmers, who really, if you looked at just the talent, you would say he's got to be the starter. But and then there's of course the famous videos going around, and we've seen it over the years where he gets in shouting matches with his teammates and he didn't even initiate it. It's not like it's a thing where he's starting it. Chris Bosh just starts screaming at him. LeBron James just blows up, starts screaming at him. He always had this thing going on where people would disrespect him. And I don't think he'll have the same problem in Memphis because Memphis is not that type of team where that kind of thing goes on. But it makes you wonder if there's something about Mario Chalmers that causes that. But we do know that at times he can get lackadaisical, but when he's engaged, he's an excellent defender. And what Mario Chalmers used to do often is he would pressure the ball and it would lead to an errant pass that LeBron James or Dwayne Wade would pick off, and then it's off to the races. So that is a strength of Mario Chalmers, that if he can bring that to the Memphis Grizzlies, then they would be able to say for 48 minutes, we can pressure the ball and play really stellar defense on opposing point guards. And I think that's what they're looking for. Mario Chalmers, over the course of his career, in playoff situations, in 30 minutes a game, he's averaging over a steal. And he just does a very good job of forcing off opposing offenses into situations they don't want to be in, forcing teams into late clock situations when he's engaged. So it remains to be seen, obviously, what he's going to bring to the table for the Memphis Grizzlies. But I think that's what Memphis thinks they're getting. Now, in terms of the Heat are trying to go, I see what they're doing. They're going in a direction where they're going to bring off the bench a lesser version of Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic does similar things to Beno Udrih in terms of his decision making and his efficiency. And I think that that's the direction they want to go in. And again, the organization just never really liked Mario Chalmers. They just, from the coaches to the players, nobody really liked him. So they bring in a player in Beno that is less divisive, I guess, but also, again, is able to make those decisions and play with that level of efficiency that I think they're looking for. So that's the trade. I think that this is going to be actually good for both teams. I think it's going to be a win-win. Mario Chalmers was having an awful, awful season. He was really playing poorly to start the season, wasn't shooting well. And I was watching them. I've watched them play 3 times this year and not really defending that well either. He was defending a little bit better than Dragic, but we know that defense is not Dragic's strength, and Chalmers is supposed to be a strong defender. At their peak, when they had Norris Cole, that was what they brought to the table, was that ball pressure for 48 minutes. So this is what the Memphis Grizzlies are going to get. They expect to get better outside shooting, which again they're second to last in it to start this young season. They're expecting more ball pressure out of Mario Chalmers, and then the Miami Heat are going to get a more efficient pick and roll player and somebody that they frankly just like a little bit better. So that's the trade. Again, like videos, hit the thumbs up. Follow me at SBA4String, seniorbasketballanalyst.com. Go get your news. And you know that.